Folks, just verifying that we're live in all the places as we go quickly. Catching up with the one and only Avi Lipkin. And what an eventful news day. We're going to cover some of these things, if it sounds good, Avi, with Trump's 20-point plan and what Hamas has agreed to and hasn't agreed to. And of course, unfortunately, we know that we're dealing with an ideology that is taught to lie. It doesn't matter what they agreed to. Iran has never kept the treaty. So it is what it is. And that's where we are. So this is showing me that we are live in all the cities we need to be. And it's always good seeing my friend Avi. And we'll go ahead and start right now. It's As Goes Israel, So Goes the World, with the founder of the Bible Block Party, author, speaker, theologian, I would say, and historian. The list goes on. It's Avi Lipkin. How are you, Avi?
Commander.
I tell you what, before we get into everything, tell us how the Lipkin family is doing.
Well, we're doing well. I just had a very, very interesting telephone call from my son, Aaron. He called me from Nashville.
He's in NRB, yeah.
The NRB. Uh-huh. And, I went many times to NRB.
Right.
And really, I mean, I'm not looking for any titles or anything. You give me titles all the time, but, I just go there and I'm hugging and kissing and, well, I mean, as far as it's allowed,
I was about to say, do you have their permission first?
Yeah. And so I called, I was in touch with a number of very important Christian people. And they said to me, you have to come. Meanwhile, my son Aaron, who's your friend also,
right,
had it planned to be there. And meanwhile, we had a family powwow, and we all decided together that I should stay in Israel and be with Rachel, because we are fearing a terrorist onslaught on our community. I mean, we're talking about 100,000 Arabs surrounding us, and we have 250 people in this, 250 families, many of whom are police and army, but they're out of the community during the day. They're at their jobs. Who's here in the settlement? Me and the husband of the grocery store. He's retired also. He has a gun, I have a gun. So it's two of us basically against anybody coming to attack. And I said, I will be the Rachel. And also, we're afraid of ballistic missiles from Iran flying over our house at any time, or at our house. So anyway, my son called me an hour ago, and he said, everybody at the NRB is saying, where's Avi? Where's Avi? He was right. 30 years we thought he was crazy. Now we want to see him. Why isn't he here? I said to my son, they didn't invite me. Avi Lipkin's strategy always is to come into the back window, not the back door, the back window,
right,
climb in and sneak in, and maybe someone will give me 5 minutes to speak. And my son was saying, all these Christian people who have heard me for 35 years are saying, why did Avi come this time? All I have to say is, ask and it will be granted. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will open.
Hey!
And, yeah.
A famous Jew once said that.
So meanwhile, you're stuck with me.
Well, hey, I consider it a privilege.
Yeah.
And I have friends that are wondering where I am today instead of the NRB. And I love them very dearly. But, the matters at hand, I don't take it lightly, Avi, when you make the time to talk and to tell us directly from Israel what is happening, boots on the ground. About to talk about Trump's 20-point plan. A lot of people don't even know that he has a 20-point plan that Hamas has already agreed some to, kind of, not really, and has rejected. But it's important for people to know that there is a proposed plan, even though people like you and I when we observe history, we're just kind of scratching our heads. Why are we giving them more time? We know that we're dealing with a soulless, animalistic entity whose aim is to destroy everyone. So, that's what you have with Hamas and Hezbollah and ISIS and Al Qaeda. What they used to call Al-Qaeda in Syria for some reason, who knows. But with all that said, what are the words coming from Netanyahu before we go through Trump's points here?
Well, firstly, you cannot make peace with Hamas.
Right.
And Israel had this concept that if you gave Hamas tons and tons and tons of money, you could buy peace and quiet. And that was proven wrong on October the 7th, 2023.
Right.
And so, bottom line is Hamas has to be destroyed. Now, I have to tell you, you probably know I speak Spanish also.
Yes, very impressive. A Jew who speaks Spanish. An Israeli Jew.
Israeli Jew whose parents are from Argentina.
There you go. Most people don't know that.
By the way, people say, "Oh, you know Spanish?" I say, "Yes." They say, "What do you know in Spanish?" I say, "My name is Pancho Villa. I think my eat for 2 pesos. You are my friend. I kill you for nothing."
Well, you have the right to say that because you are from Argentina, and of course you know those handsome blue eyes. I bet your hair was black when you were younger too.
No, always brown.
Always brown.
My grandfather was a redhead, and his hair turned white at 35. So,
Rico Suave.
Yeah. So anyway, the as you know, and you've said this from your own mouth many times, there's a term called taqiyya.
Yeah.
Taqiyya means you lie. Mm-hmm. You are commanded to lie in Islam. In Judeo-Christianity, you are commanded to tell the truth.
Right.
And if you don't tell the truth, you're breaking one of the 10 commandments. This is for every Christian and every Jew.
Right.
And every deal you make will be broken because it's all a lie. And so we have here the 20-point plan, 21-point plan. And by the way, I have to repeat this 100 times. President Trump, I know some Democrats might switch stations now. President Trump is the greatest president in American history. I don't care whatever people think. I voted for him 3 times. My son Aaron voted for him 3 times. All our group voted for President Trump 3 times. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm very scared of a Holocaust in America against the Jews.
Right.
Either when President Trump ends his 3 years, God willing, he should end his 3 years, or somebody shoots him. There'll be civil war. Jews will be slaughtered. But meanwhile, President Trump is the best president Israel has ever had. And the problem with the 20-point plan is that you cannot build a building on quicksand.
Right.
You have to build, or it says in the New Testament, you don't plant a seed on a rock. You have to plant it in fertile soil. Islam has only one plan, and that's to kill the Jews and Christians. Therefore, the 20-point plan means nothing if Islam is in charge in Gaza, because the only thing that Gaza wants, that Hamas wants, is kill the Jews on Saturday and kill the Christians on Sunday. By the way, getting back to the NRB, because my son called me an hour ago, and he was saying, all the Christians were saying, "Where's your father? Where's your father?"
Right.
We thought he was crazy, and everything he said was absolutely true.
Exactly.
And so I thank you for being at my right-hand side the last 3 years. I hope we can continue.
Of course.
And, well, God willing, of course. And I will say one thing, though. One of our fears is that Israel goes in, Israel disarms Hamas, and then President Trump says, "Okay, give me Gaza. It's now American territory."
For development.
That's not what it says in the Bible. In the Bible, it says that Gaza is part of Israel.
Right. Well,
Now,
yeah.
the Egyptians have said that if we go in for the final kill to destroy Hamas, this will mean war with Egypt. And Turkey now is joining Egypt against Israel. So we have a new round of wars coming when we're finished with Iran, and God willing, we will finish with Iran. So that's the reason I didn't travel. I have to be here in Israel with my wife to protect her in case we get overrun by terrorists. And then we have the problem with Iran. Iran has to be finished because they are the destroyers of the world. Iran is at this stage. After that, Turkey will replace Iran, and they'll be the destroyers of the world. We have a big problem here. And one of the things that scares me is that, of course, we know Democrats are crazy, but in the Republican Party, some of the MAGA people are crazy, anti-Semitic, and they are isolationists, and they don't want boots on the ground. But if you don't have America as number one with boots on the ground, who are you looking at? You're looking at China and Russia, which cannot be world power number one. Only the U.S. can be world power number one.
Yeah, these people don't understand that China and Russia do not play by the same rules that we claim to play by, with diplomacy and even humanity. When people are jumping on this Candace Owens conspiracy bandwagon, Tucker Carlson, very disappointing. I often ask them, what is the alternative? Israel is our only ally in the Middle East. What's the alternative? Turkey? I mean, again, and with Egypt, Sisi, they call him the Trump of Egypt. I don't know how much of that is posturing. I mean, have you seen the walls between, Gaza and Egypt? And so, the leftist, Marxist, jihadists here, and they're all together, anarchists, they're all together, different heads, the same animalistic, soulless snake, anti-American. Even they don't balk at the severity of the wall. These leftist protesters found out the hard way. Wait a minute, why is this? It looks like a wall to keep out dragons, on the Egyptian side, and we have something simple here in America. Bottom line is you're dealing with soulless animals when you're dealing with the left. But back to Trump's 20-point plan, he has a few phases here, 3 phases. And, of course, phase 1, the immediate ceasefire and hostage exchange. How many times have we been here before? The immediate ceasefire, stop all military operations. Hamas started killing, their own people immediately when they returned. Freeze battle lines. Hamas releases all Israel hostages within 72 hours. That has not happened that I believe.
No, it has happened, but not in 72 hours.
Well, yeah, within that time frame.
I have to praise President Trump and his team. Even Witkoff and Kushner, these, the American government did a fantastic job in getting all of the hostages, dead or alive, getting them released. And so that's behind us now. It's not a problem for us anymore.
But they didn't meet the deadline though, and what were there other remains past that deadline that had not been returned or have
Listen. Iran was given 60 days, and it was followed by the B-2 bombings because Trump gave them 60 days. And Trump says it now. He says we're giving them another 30 days for the next stage. Will Iran follow the 30 days? I don't think so. So I think that now that they had the second round of talks in Geneva, I think now we're looking at the possibility of war in a day or two, or in a week, or maximum a month. Once the second aircraft carrier arrives, this job with Iran has to be finished. I got to tell you something. You're going to laugh at this. Either you're going to laugh or you're going to cry. You remember Biden when he hightailed it out of Afghanistan and he left all the aircraft and all the weaponries and all the equipment
for the Taliban and ended up in ISIS hands? Yes.
So Iran sent a special message to the Taliban that America is going to destroy Iran and they're begging the Taliban. Are you listening?
Yeah.
They're begging the Taliban to come in and fight with Iran against the United States. So we're going to be fighting Taliban in Afghanistan again. That's another thing that should have been finished. And it's never finished with these Muslims.
Yeah, and the question is, who enabled them? Who funded them? Who helped them? And why are they not hanging from the gallows for treason?
Well, that was the concept. That's the concept. That you do business. The Democratic Party concept is you can buy them off. It's all about money. And it's wrong. You're dealing with
It's other people's money. Yeah. Your money.
You're dealing with a satanic, pseudo-religious ideology, satanic ideology, which says kill the Jew on Saturday, kill the Christian on Sunday. America is waking up little by little. Listen, at the NRB, I've been going there for 35 years and totally ignored. I mean, it's not about Rodney Dangerfield. You know, I don't get no respect.
No respect. I get that.
I don't care. Listen, my wife doesn't respect me either. 55 years we've been married. But there's a lesson to be learned. And now all of a sudden, the NRB, everyone is saying, hey, where's Avi? Where's Avi? Same with America. America has a problem that it takes a thief to know a thief. You guys ain't thieves. You guys are wonderful. Americans are wonderful, holy people, Christian. And it's true, there are those who want to destroy Christianity. But the vast majority of Americans, I think 70%, are Christian, go to church on Sunday. And I don't want to say I don't care what church you go to. I mean, you know, I always have my own preferences. You know, I'm looking. What's the catch term? Baptocostal charismaniacs. Those are my favorite. And it finally came back to me. And hey, listen, that's what made America great. I mean, think for a moment. Why is America the greatest country on earth? 500 years. Usually empires collapse after 400. You know, we're talking about, okay, American independence 250 years ago. But we have going back to 1492 and the beginning of the New World and the Protestant Reformation. And we're talking about 500 years. And, you know, I love the Russians. I love the Chinese. I love Chinese food, by the way. But there is no country like America. America is the only country that can be world power number one. So the only question is how? You know, what is the path to running the world? The world has to be run in a proper way. Some people will call me now what you would say a globalist. I'm an American globalist because I believe in the American system. Listen, one of my favorite heroes is Alexis de Tocqueville. And he wrote in his book 240 years ago, no, 140 years ago, Democracy in America. And he said, America will be the greatest country on earth because the American people are good people and their pulpits are on fire for the Lord. And conversely, he said, when America's pulpits are no longer on fire for the Lord, America loses its preeminence. So, listen, I'm a Jew preaching Christianity now. I mean, this is what we need.
It's historic. Well, and I just wish more Christians would vote. You know,
Yeah.
Again, we're seeing the sad reality that the result of decades of laying down on the truth for money, fear. Nothing good comes out of fear. Fear of losing tithes. So you don't speak against the worship of Moloch in your churches. You don't speak against not raising a voice. I mean, even Charlie Kirk addressed that. Old Testament and New Testament, we are to the ecclesia is a secular term. People don't realize that. Leadership, government, structure. It's not doesn't mean here's the church, here's the steeple. It literally leadership in the gates. And what happened to that message? You know, and so I mean, I've heard it said that they replaced the prophets with politicians. But there is a new generation that's rising up, and has been raised up. And of course, there are great pastors who speak the truth without fear. They don't have the biggest churches, They're not trendy. They don't try to pretend to be Tom Cruise and everything's cool and, parking $1 million vehicles in front for a VBS theme, but they do speak the truth, and they address the issues of the day. 34 million evangelicals didn't vote in 2020 during even a stolen election, and here we are. But back to Trump. He wanted to freeze the battle lines. He wanted Hamas to release all the prisoners within 72 hours. They didn't do that, but they finally recently released them all. You're saying release the Palestinian prisoners and long-term prisoners, which is horrible. Hey, let's release people who've had decades to perfect their terrorism plots. Release remains of Gazans in exchange for Israel remains. Israeli forces begin phase withdrawal from Gaza. We've been seeing that. Massive humanitarian aid enters Gaza. Israel's been trying to help the very people who hate them since the conflict began, and the UN deliberately did not want that food and relief delivered. And Hamas stole the relief while claiming Israel was committing genocide. And then the eighth point of this phase one, international aid organizations oversee relief. Boy, you gotta watch which organizations are overseeing relief. Some are aligned with Hamas. But phase two, demilitarization and security restructuring, that Hamas must disarm heavy weapons. You can read this online, folks. Destroy tunnels. They're not going to do that. Gaza becomes a demilitarized zone. Amnesty offered to Hamas members who renounce violence. Really? Hamas members can leave Gaza safely if they choose to exile. International peacekeeping force deploys to Gaza. Palestinian police force trained under international supervision. Boy, this is a wonderful dream if they were based in Judeo-Christian values. And I could see that. Phase 3, governance and rebuilding Gaza. And this is 16 through 20. Hamas gives up control of Gaza government. Gaza governed by Palestinian technocratic administration. International Board of Peace oversees rebuilding and governance. International Board of Peace, like the UN, who put Iran in charge of human rights, and they're slaughtering their own people. What is it, over 100,000 they've killed of their own people now? Billions in restructured funding pledged. Long-term path towards Palestinian self-governance and stability. What has Hamas accepted, according to this report? And this is also channel. You subscribe to Channel 7. They agreed to the hostages, ceasefire and infighting. Boy, how many times did they agree to that? Transfer of civilian government. We see how long that lasts. The Palestinians themselves vote for Hamas leaders. Participate in negotiations towards peace. They agreed to continue negotiations. Hey, why not? Buy time. And then some withdrawal in reconstruction framework and indicated openness. They're open to international reconstruction and mechanism. They ought to just use the money the Democrats gave them. That they could rebuild Gaza 5 times over, couldn't they?
No, the money's in the bank.
Yeah, it is.
Palestinian terrorists have taken all that money and put it in their private bank accounts. There is no money.
You have billionaire terror leaders in Hamas and Hezbollah. Folks.
You want to hear what the latest problem is?
What's that?
They cannot get any more humanitarian aid. You know why?
Why?
All of their warehouses are so full. There's no room for more trucks.
How about that?
That's how bad the situation is.
Well, what have they openly rejected, according to this report? Full disarmament. Of course they rejected that. That's their mechanism. Immediate demilitarization without guarantees. Yeah, you might as well ask for cotton candy in the sky. Israeli troop positions and withdrawal terms. Has not fully accepted Israel's proposed withdrawal lines. Exclusion from future government. Full surrender or dissolution of Hamas, the military wing. But what have both sides apparently agreed on? Ceasefire framework. Yeah, what? How many hours will that be until that's broken? Hostage release negotiations ongoing. Israel troop withdrawal in phases discussed. International peacekeeping and reconstruction underway. These are people who killed babies in microwaves, folks. These are people who committed atrocities, and the international community always condemns those who respond, those who defend themselves, just like a leftist, victimizing the criminal and memorializing the good Lord. They exalt the criminal and yet they victimize him at the same time, and then they villainize those who are killed and raped and tortured, and it's just you're dealing with animals here. I mean, I don't understand. I voted for Trump too, but I don't understand what he's thinking. Does he know? Doesn't he know through history that
He knows. He knows. Listen, there's something called appearances.
I know.
So
I know.
Trump goes along with that. Qatar wants, so Trump delivers. Turkey wants, Trump delivers. But I have total faith in Trump. He knows what he's doing. Hey, I have to tell you something very funny. Israel's complaining about what Hamas did on October the 7th, 2023. So what was the answer from Hamas? October 7th, okay, we won't kill the Jews anymore on October 7th. We'll kill them on October 8th, October 9th.
Yeah. We'll set aside that day. We won't be rabid animals on that day.
Any day is good. And you know what? Where are the Christians in Gaza? There used to be Christians in Gaza. Where are the Christians in the West Bank, Judea, Samaria? They're all gone. The Muslims destroyed them. You remember, did you ever hear of a place called Bethlehem?
Yep.
Bethlehem is now 15% Christian. 15%. Do you remember Nazareth?
Yeah.
Now that's in Israel. 35% Christian, 65% Muslim. Christians are being ethnically cleansed by the Muslims. I mean, that's something that is not being publicized. American Christians should know more about that.
Well, they should, but it doesn't pay to protest that, does it? These goons that are protesting anything but the slaughter of the innocents, and they don't even know what they're protesting for. Then don't call them protesters. They're paid thugs. They're crisis actors, activists. My gosh, I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime, and here we are. I mean, we should have compassion on all people, but in America, especially in Texas, you play with the rattlesnake and poke him long enough, don't go crying when you get bit. Or that old saying, you grab the bull, you get the horns. People have learned that about Texans. They've learned that about me. You grab the bull, you get the horns, buddy. And they've been grabbing the bull for a long time. And so, what do you do? What do you do? But I agree with the appearances thing. Trump is a businessman. He's a leader. He's not a politician. He told you that, folks. And you're still concerned about what he's saying on Twitter when the alternative is the slaughter of you and your children. Are you kidding me? Where's your brain? Gosh, why don't you just choose survival, choose life, choose common sense? As America, if America is not the leader, peace through strength, you've seen what China does to its people, what Venezuelans have done to their people. History speaks for itself. So many of the Chinese believers, I was producing the news for Bob Fu of China Aid for a while, and they were saying our pastors didn't warn us. They're in concentration camps. The pastors didn't warn them. Oh, Jesus will come back before then. Folks, you need to live your life. Pray like it all depends on God, but act as if it all depends on you. You better get proactive. You better vote in these midterms. These people want you dead. And have common sense and pray for the peace of Israel. Pray that God saves America and God blesses Israel, because as goes Israel,
so goes the ganze Welt.
So goes the world, man. Avi, we love you. I appreciate you more than you know.